The Philadelphia Eagles are sitting on a powder keg, and the fuse is burning faster than anyone in the front office wants to admit. Right now, in the quiet, stifling heat of the NFL offseason, a narrative is taking hold that could shatter the foundation of this franchise forever. We are hearing whispers of a total collapse, a betrayal of trust, and the unthinkable possibility that the face of the team, the man who led this squad to the brink of a Super Bowl glory, could be on his way out. But is this genuine, cold-blooded roster management, or is it the most calculated hit piece in the history of Philly sports? Stick around, because by the end of this, you'll realize that the reality of the situation is far more dangerous than the headlines suggest. Before we peel back the layers of this high-stakes drama, understand one thing. The NFL landscape is built on perception, and right now, the perception surrounding the Eagles' locker room is turning toxic. We've seen this movie before, but this time, the stakes are elevated. We're looking at a team reloading its offensive weapons, signing versatile assets like Eric Ezekama to bridge the gap in the return game. Yet the conversation isn't about the plays on the field. It's about a silence, a deafening lack of vocal support from the internal pillars of the organization toward their quarterback, Jalen Hurts. But why now? Why is the media suddenly convinced that Hurts is skating on thin ice? And where does a name like Lamar Jackson fit into this chaos? The answer involves a journey into the dark arts of NFL rumors, where one insider speculation can trigger a wildfire of theories. The storm began with a report suggesting that because Hurts' current deal lacks guaranteed money in the coming years, the Eagles are keeping their doors wide open. We heard whispers of an anonymous NFL general manager flatly stating that Howie Roseman isn't a man who dwells on sentiment. If the performance isn't there, the change will be made. It's a ruthless philosophy, one that has defined Philadelphia's success, but applying that same cold logic to a quarterback of Hurts' caliber feels like a different game entirely. Think about the sheer audacity of the claim, that the Eagles would essentially trade away their identity for a chance at a different kind of superstar. It's a narrative designed to generate clicks, to stir up the fan base, and to create doubt where there should be stability. But let's play devil's advocate for a moment. If the organization truly felt that their championship window was closing, would they really be looking at a lateral or even a high-risk move involving a veteran quarterback? It doesn't add up. We have to look at the man in the mirror, the quarterback himself. Hurts has spent his offseason trying to master a modern, evolving offense. He is being handed all the tools, all the talent, and all the infrastructure to succeed. If he fails, the consequences will be severe, but that is the reality for every starting quarterback in this league, except perhaps the absolute legends like Patrick Mahomes. Yet, why does it feel like Philadelphia is under a magnifying glass, while other teams with similar uncertainties get a pass? There is a sinister undercurrent to this media circus. We've seen the hit pieces emerge in the last 48 hours, questioning the internal bonds of the team. They claim players aren't rallying behind him, that the leadership isn't organic, and that the silence from the locker room is a statement in itself. But is that fair? Or is it a manufactured crisis built on the back of postseason frustrations? While you ponder who is truly to blame for the current atmosphere, is it the front office, the media, or the players themselves? Let's shift our focus to an even stranger subplot that has refused to die, the Brandon Sorsby situation. If you thought the Lamar Jackson talk was wild, the Sorsby saga feels like a fever dream. A college quarterback caught in the crosshairs of an NCAA investigation, dealing with gambling allegations, and now potentially looking at the NFL supplemental draft as his only lifeline. The whispers suggested the Eagles were doing extensive homework, even willing to drop high-level draft capital to secure his rights. It sounds like a backup plan, a contingency, or perhaps a gamble on raw potential. But here is the reality. The NFL does not treat gambling violations lightly. Ask Isaiah Rodgers. If Sorsby were to enter the supplemental draft, he's not just competing for a roster spot. He's fighting against the massive, immovable wall of league policy. Should the Eagles really be spending a premium draft pick on a gamble when they are trying to cement their identity for the next 3 years? Imagine a scenario where the Eagles head into 2026 with a divided locker room, a quarterback under immense pressure to justify his contract, and a rookie prospect whose eligibility is a question mark. It sounds like a disaster, right? That's exactly what the national media wants you to believe. They want you to envision a world where the Eagles are picking in the top 10, desperate for a savior, and ready to blow the whole thing up. But here's the truth that gets buried under the noise. The Eagles are not a broken team. They are a team with one of the most talented defensive cores in the league and an offense that has been reloaded with explosive options. They're not waiting for a fall. They're preparing for a climb. The pressure on Jalen Hurts is real, yes, but it is the same pressure that every elite athlete faces. The difference is the scrutiny. In Philly, the spotlight doesn't just shine, it burns. As we look toward the start of training camp, the narrative is going to intensify. You will hear more about missing links, lack of support, and secret trades. You will see names tossed around like confetti. But you have to look at the motivation. Why are these stories being written? Who benefits from the chaos? The reality is that we are in a period of manufactured suspense. The season hasn't started, the pads haven't popped, and yet the headlines are predicting the end of an era. It's a game of psychological warfare played out in columns and podcasts. Before we move on to the final act of this story, ask yourself, if you had to bet everything you own on this team's future, would you trust the noise or would you trust the talent on the field? The answer to that question reveals more about the state of the team than any report from an anonymous source ever could. So, how do we separate the truth from the fiction? It starts by acknowledging that in the NFL, success is the only disinfectant for this kind of rumor mill. If the team starts hot, if the offense clicks, all this talk of trade rumors and internal distrust will vanish into the ether, replaced by talk of playoff positioning and Lombardi Trophy runs. If they stumble, the wolves will come out, and every single one of these rumors will be retroactively labeled as prophetic. It's a fragile existence, being an NFL quarterback in a city that expects perfection. But that is the job description. The intensity, the criticism, the constant pressure, it's all part of the package. And for a leader like Jalen Hurts, the challenge isn't just to play the game. It's to drown out the noise that seeks to define him. We are reaching the end of this off-season lull, and the real test is about to begin. Training camp is the crucible. Every pass, every decision, every interaction in that facility will be analyzed, dissected, and debated. There will be no more hiding behind headlines. The tape will speak for itself. As we look ahead, the story of the 2026 Philadelphia Eagles will be written on the gridiron, not in the gossip columns. It is going to be a season defined by resilience or by ruin. There is no middle ground. And honestly, wouldn't you rather have it that way? A team that operates on the edge of greatness is always more compelling than a team that plays it safe. Stay vigilant, keep your eyes on the field, and ignore the sirens calling for destruction. This team is built to compete, and until we see otherwise, the only thing that matters is what happens when the clock starts ticking this fall. The drama is a distraction. The game is the mission. And in Philadelphia, the mission has always been clear. We will be here, watching every play, every shift, and every heartbeat of this season. The chaos will continue. The rumors will persist, but at the end of the day, only the scoreboard remains. And that, more than anything else, is the final authority. Don't let the noise force you to look away. The real story is just about to get started.